of the things that I really love to talk about is that wonderful woman, Sarah Palin. We all know her as the Bridge to Nowhere lady, as that the lady who pretty much sunk an entire presidential campaign by herself. Yeah, that's the woman we're talking about. And guess who she's endorsed this week? Donald Trump. Our old friend. Everyone loves him, right? Yeah, that is her best friend, and she actually went up on stage and told the whole world about it. Those bitter, clinging, gun-clinging, crazy nuts that she loves to pull in for everyone to just make fun of. And it's not necessarily her endorsement of Trump we're talking about. It's her audacity to dare to say that her son's PTSD is blamed on Obama. Yeah, the guy who brought her son back to this country after a 15-year war, pretty much. Yeah, that's the dude she's making fun of right now. But we've got some amazing information that just came out recently from people in his own platoon. Thanks to his mother's vice presidential campaign, he never saw one day of combat. Literally, sat in his tent the entire time he was overseas and never saw a single bit of combat. So he's pretty much had the life that most of us have had in this country, which is luxury to the most extreme. And how do you get PTSD from a tent? I am leaving the rest of this up to my fellow pundits to let me know how the shaking and rattling of the window in his tent caused him so many mental disorders that he had to beat his wife in a drunken rage and threaten to shoot himself in the face. Girlfriend, excuse me. Actually punched her in the face, his girlfriend, and then threatened to shoot himself in the face. Man, that tent must have did a lot of work on his psyche. Please, guys, tell me how he got PTSD. I'd love to hear it.
Okay.
Extreme homesickness?
Oh, see, we actually have some. I like that.
Well, a real one would be kind of like what happened to my brother. It was like the middle of the night, I believe he told me, and an IED or whatever went off near their base. And so that's something.
That's something realistic.
That's something realistic.
That could actually happen to someone who's not sitting in the main base in their own tent, not really out in combat. That doesn't.
No.
You know,
I mean, he didn't receive any medals.
He didn't receive any medals.
Typically, when you go to combat, you get at least one medal or two medals.
Well, not only that, when you're in combat, you have a particular. It's given to you like in combat pay, as well as it shows on your record that you were in combat. Therefore, you deserve these extras, which of course you do. If you're in combat and you see actual war, you deserve that. But he got none of those commendations.
Hold on just a second. From a military perspective, yes, he should have gotten a ribbon for being deployed. As for him getting medals, that's something different. That's above and beyond Call of Duty. So him coming back with no medals, you can't disparage him for that, because there's a lot of guys who went over there, got the ribbon for going, and that's it.
But what I'm saying is he doesn't even have on his record that he was in combat.
And that's fine, but I don't want to disparage a man's military combat or military experience at all. He's brave enough to sign up.
I would agree.
He's brave enough to go and get deployed and not run off like a little bitch.
That was, kind of going in on that point. A lot of military roles are non-combat roles. With that being said, most of your non-combatants don't come back with PTSD, but we're not going to, I don't want anybody watching this to take it as if we're saying, if you didn't actually see combat, then your service wasn't worth anything. That's not at all what we're saying.
Wholeheartedly agree.
If you served this country and you didn't see combat, you're one of the lucky ones, but we are still incredibly, incredibly honored for your service and thankful for it. But back to the other side of it.
But trying to sell me on PTSD when all you did was type out reports, it'll be a little hard to sell.
Well, and also to blame the fact that you beat your girlfriend in a drunken rage and threatened to shoot yourself in the head with an M16. because you have PTSD because Obama has deployed you in a war. Like, that's pretty much what she was trying to sell. So
That
not
Obama
only was she
didn't even
lying, huh?
That Obama didn't even deploy.
Right? Like, I'm pretty sure he was deployed under Bush's regiment, under Bush's reign as, you know, being president of this country. But that's what she tried to say. So I wholeheartedly agree. I want to make sure we double down on the fact that if you have any military experience, you deserve the utmost respect. I will never question that. I will never judge that. Whether you have a medal or not, that's not necessarily what we meant. What we meant was he got no commendation from being actually in combat, which, like Sirena said, most people who are not in combat roles do not suffer from PTSD. Even if they do see moments like your brother did, it's because your brother had that moment plus many others that caused those types of issues. Most people in bases, even if they do have a few attacks randomly around them, do not come back with PTSD because they're in non-combat roles, which is much different than what him and his mother tried to claim that he had, which is my biggest outrage.
Now, here's the thing. The human psyche is different in every single human.
Of course.
So what one IED could do to somebody might be different than what would be needed for 4 IEDs and an actual combat role.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to say if he did nothing, he saw no action, the base wasn't attacked, there was no threat to his life other than the fact he wasn't in Alaska, PTSD is not a sell to me. But no, if that base was attacked even once, it's very possible. We don't know this kid. We don't know his psyche. It could have fucked with him. However, the root of the thing being it is not Obama's fault in any way, stretch of the imagination.
So her blaming Obama was complete and utter BS, and I talked about this in a Facebook post I did earlier. I know Aaron saw it. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's kind of ridiculous because Obama was actually trying to give more money to the VA. This past year, he tried to give them $1.7 billion. And then when it came down to the Congress, they tried to take that part out of the budget bill. But thankfully, it got thrown in with the omnibus.
Which we've talked about in a previous film that we're going to put up. And it is absolutely a shame that the men and women that sacrifice their lives, sacrifice their livelihood, sacrifice the luxury that we have here in this country to be overseas and to protect what we claim so dearly and what we cling so hard on in this country, that for them to be properly funded through the VA has to go through the omnibus, which means that no Republican had the common decency to vote for it as a standalone bill, which they can constantly claim we don't want people to come over our border, but they don't even want to pay for the people that they send overseas. How many of these Republican candidates in their various debate show-ups have said we need to put more boots on the ground, we need to bomb, we need to continue this war?
For just alone, we support the troops. We are for our troops.
I'm always for my troops, always. But to then say we need to send more troops overseas, but the people who can actually vote on it then choose to not fund the proper mental health, not fund the proper physical health to take care of the few people, well, not the few at this point, the millions of people that we have who need help, let alone the ones they want to send over. It's a smack in the face, and I don't see how people do not see the hypocrisy and the double standard of these people's words.
And just to kind of bring it all around, basically what you've just said is, even if he did have PTSD, even if Palin's son did have PTSD, it's her own party who is stopping him from getting the treatment that he needs, from being able to get that care and the benefits.
It was her own party that sent him there.
Yeah, and it's her own party that sent him to start with. So, you know, that just kind of brings it all back around full circle. This, not Obama's fault.
And not only her own party, my own party. I still love the Republican standpoint on not having a large federal government, on state rights being very important. But I am not going to send someone's children overseas and have them fight a war that I am not there in. I'm not there. You know what I mean? So the least I can do is give them the proper medical and mental health care that they need, that they deserve, that they want when they come home. That is the least that I can do. At least, even if I'm not giving it, I'm not the one putting a needle in their arm, but I can vote for it. That's the least that I can do. And the Republican Party is still not even standing by that platform. It is disgusting.